Right, so hello, my name is Tormod Amundsen. I run a small tegnestue / architecture office called Biotope, and we're specializing in nature shelters, bird hides, mountain cabins, storm cabins, nature photography hides, all kinds of nature related facilities, just architecting for the outdoor experience. 2 years ago approximately, we were invited by Visit Nuuk to make a plan or a scheme for nature shelters and tiny cabins in and around Nuuk. Essentially to better facilitate for the outdoor experience for people who live in Nuuk, and also for visitors, tourists. And the plan was supported by the Lokale og Anleggsfonden, and we are super happy that this plan, which we worked on for a long time, and a lot of people were involved, people and organizations like Snøscooterklubben, hikers, the people who love to ski, kindergartens, the kajakklubben, a lot of people, tourism businesses, all kinds were involved in this project through workshops, through meetings, just us gathering as much information as we possibly could on, which sites people love to visit, which places has potential that could be visited more if only there were better shelter there. And we heard a lot of good stories, we gathered a lot of information, and basically we've come up with this plan, 150-page plan for Nuuk and the surrounding areas, for how we can facilitate for a better life outdoors, which is what we're all aiming for, I guess, or at least the ones of us who are into nature. So I'll go through this plan just briefly. I won't go through all the little details. It's a long plan. It's we've written quite a bit about the future of the outdoor life and how to facilitate for it. The kind of work Biotope has done previously in northern Norway and in Iceland and quite a few places around the circumpolar north is about facilitating for the niches within the tourism industry. And with the niches, I mean like kayak paddling, mountain hiking, skiing, nature photography, bird watching, and we're not so much concerned about mass tourism. So what we're trying to facilitate for is the smaller scale impact, smaller footprint. I mean, it's a buzzword these days, but more sustainable way of thinking about tourism. So we want to facilitate for visitors that want to stay longer, spend more time here, use local guides, eat locally, appreciate the nature, and also a lot of them will know how to handle themselves in nature. That said, first and foremost, I think this plan is meant to support the local people of Nuuk. We've tried to design shelters and place them close to the town, some semi-close to the town, like up at Kvasusuaq, Lille Malene, behind me here, and some further away on Store Malene, and even a couple towards the Kobbefjorden, and one as far east as Kapisislitt. But the main scope of the plan was to create a series of shelters and tiny cabins close to Nuuk, making it easy for people in Nuuk to choose to easily use the nature around Nuuk. I'll briefly introduce Biotope, which is the tegnestue I've been running ever since 2009. So Biotope was started in Vardø, which is a small fishing village in the furthest northeast of Norway, just well north of the Arctic Circle. It's an amazing little place, and I decided, I'm not from Vardø, but I decided in 2009 I'm going to move there and start Biotope, which will be an architectural studio that exclusively works with nature. So we're going to be a part of developing communities, but through small-scale architecture, like bird hides, nature shelters, photography hides, mountain cabins, hiking cabins, like all kinds of outdoorsy architecture. So naturally I was incredibly happy when Visit Nuuk called and asked if we were interested in working in Nuuk. And that's been a dream for a very long time, to both come to Greenland and to Nuuk in particular, of course the capital of Greenland. So upon arriving, we We quickly met a lot of people, did a lot of workshops, had a lot of meetings. I guess we spent a lot of time just gathering information and input on what places people loved, which places people would like to keep secret and maybe not expose to more tourism or more visitors. Most importantly, we did a lot of site visits, mapping out potential places to work and to build shelters or tiny cabins or just storm cabins. Throughout the development of the project, I think we designed something like 25 different projects scattered around. These were narrowed down to 12 concepts or 12 shelters or ideas that we are now presented in this plan. So I'll go through the projects one by one. Or I'll skim through them, because that'll be fast enough. Oh, raven. So we first had the Tyskerneset, which was on the south point here. Boom. And the Tyskerneset site, I was basically chosen because it was so close to town. It's already a very popular hiking area. People go there walking their dogs, jogging, just standing there to take a look at the amazing sea and westwards views. So here you see a little illustration showing the new shelter that we put on this particular site. It's a small shelter, and like all the buildings we do, we try to make them open and inviting. That's their key character. They're not supposed to look like private cabins. It's a public nature shelter or a public cabin in some of the cases that we've done. So you will notice upon arrival of one of these that there are benches on each side. So depending on each wind direction, you will always find some sort of wind shelter. If the wind is from the east, you will sit on the north side of the shelter. Again, if the wind is from the west, you can sit on the opposite side. So all the shelters that we're designing are somehow, they have multiple spaces with several bench places and shelter essentially. So that's Tyskerneset, 3.8 by 4.5 meters. Yeah, very close to town place. The other is what we learned was called Turistfellen, which is where I'm exactly at now. And Turistfellen, I understand it was called because a lot of people, well, occasionally people get trapped on this island, because you can walk onto it on a low tide, but be sure to get off it before the high tide. There it is, the low tide area. So I just walked across here, and obviously it gets flooded on high tide. And basically the same type of shelter that we built for Tyskerneset is the shelter we're using here as well. Oh, and then we created a læringsrom, we called it. It's basically it's a small base camp for kindergartens or for little tour groups or for people to go and visit. It's just on the beach over there, just below the airports. And the idea was inspired by Anders' hytte. We're basically creating an outdoors cabin. Half the cabin is a sheltered space which you can actually close. There's a fireplace inside. There's a sovebricks, a sleeping area or just sitting area if you want. And there's an inside shelter bench, similar to all the shelters we're designing. They're kind of designed to handle wind quite well. So working with wind has also been important. We hope the læringsrom, which is walking distance from the town, will be a great win for the kindergarten or any tour group who wants to go there and just have an easy outdoor experience. And it's facing north towards the fjord here as well. So northern light situation there should be really cool in the winter. And then Lille Malene, which Kvassussuaq, a lot of people will know, maybe particularly through Tirsdagsklubben, which of course we joined several times on their hike up Lille Malene. Today the situation is most people are finding shelter by the big red container on the top, which is basically a technical facility for, I think, communications systems, I guess. We're basically now designed a small shelter. Here's a little illustration inspired by the Sarmitsiaq mountain. In the middle of the shelter there's a wall, so you can sit on either side of that wall, so depending on wind direction and where you want to find shelter. So that particular wall is actually a Lexan glass map imprinted onto the wall, just showing a detailed topographical map of Nuuk and the surrounding areas. So the Lille Malene shelter is not designed for an overnight stay. It's basically just a bench project, an overbuilt sheltering bench, not a place for staying overnight, but like a daytime visiting shelter. And the same goes for the next projects we did on Lille Malene. It's on the nearby top, looking down from this top towards Circusøen and back towards Paradisdalen. And getting a bit closer, it looks like this. In plan, it looks like a triangular star. The idea is you have benches all around it, so this is essentially a bench which has a Lexan glass center, something like this, seen in plan. So glass center, benches on each side, and again, whichever wind direction, you're going to find a sheltered place with a fantastic view. During this, my third trip to Nuuk, I spent quite a bit of time visiting a lot of these shelter sites, including this Lille Malene site, measuring the exact site, finding the points in the ground where to put the steel shoe and the fundament. Yeah, and then we're on to Paradisdalen. So Paradisdalen is a popular area for skiers, for snowmobile, for hiking, for all kinds of outdoor life in the Bakland. It's almost like the gateway to the Bakland. A very popular base camp area for skiers, hikers, snowmobile, all kinds of winter outdoor activities typically. Here we designed a mountain cabin, basically. A small, or well, actually not that small, but a base camp that will easily fit 30, 40 people. The cabin itself has an outdoor section, which is kind of half closed, half open, and then there is an inside space here as well, and of course another outdoor section with a roof on top of it. We hope this will be a nice place that people will gather, make food, just enjoy themselves while using this area as a base camp to explore the nearby area. So now we have two shelters in the town, and that's the Tyskerneset and the Turistfellen. We have two shelters for Kvassusak, Lille Malene. It's the Tirsdagskrubben site up here, and slightly further back the Circusøen bench shelter. And then there's the Paradisdalen even further on, and then we have Store Malene, for which we've also designed two projects. One at the furthest westernmost point. I'm going to point to it. That'll be there. And I actually just spent the night there yesterday. I just walked up to the top and brought my sleeping bag and just spent the night. It was fantastic, absolutely incredible views, but it was windy yeah, it was very windy, and having a shelter there would make it so much more easily accessible, and of course also more safe for people who walk around the area. But the thing is, it can be a little bit dangerous to be out in the nature around Nuuk. There are actually several people who have died on Store Malene, so this is also one of the reasons we want to create these shelters, is to make safe like little emergency cabins that you can retreat to if you're all of a sudden you're caught by crazy wind or weather or fog or whatever it may be. And then we have Okussisat, which is Store Malene but facing Kobbefjorden. That place is called Utsikten. So we visited this place with Scooterklubben. It was an incredible place. We had just insane views of Kobbefjorden, just this spectacular cliff that just dives straight into the fjord. And on the very top of this particular place, we designed this triangular A-frame cabin, basically. It's a tiny cabin. Again, none of the projects we're doing are particularly big. It's a tiny cabin. It's aimed at being a shelter as well as an overnight place. Oh, more ravens. It's aimed at being a shelter and a cabin at the same time. So it has two spaces, one in the first floor, which is, I guess, better for staying overnight. You can easily sleep 4 people in that room, and then the upper room has a kind of a laid back to it, with fantastic views through a panoramic window in the roof. So it's going to be hopefully insanely good northern light condition staying there. Okay, this space also has a sheltered outside space, so you can sit on a bench and still have really good but sheltered views of Kobbefjorden. And as you continue your walk from from Lille Malene, Store Malene, down to Kobbefjorden and towards Kappelseslitt. You will be able to stay at this small cabin here, or shelter cabin, I guess we can call it. As long as the fundament is in place, we can just helicopter the cabin and drop it onto the site, which is here in Kobbefjorden. It's first and foremost for the people hiking towards Kappelseslitt, or for the people who are hiking in the area and discovering shelter is taken and busy. The Kobbefjorden cabin, small triangular cabin with a bench space in front of it, and inside there are 2 sovebricks and a small table. That's it. It will be very easy to heat. We are also working right now to find a good heating solution for the tiniest of these cabins. We're going to be working with the Innuplan, which are based here in Nuuk, on developing the technical designs for these base camps and shelters, and figuring out how we're going to build them and have them transported to their respective sites. And then we have further north, if you're a kayaker, we go further north. There's a little kayak base camp here on the north side. We designed this very small kayakers cabin, very close to the shore. It's basically a small cabin with a tiny fireplace and a small sovebricks, and that's it. It's less than 2.3 meters wide, and it's about 5 meters long, and that is including quite a big outside bench area on this particular shelter. And then we're all the way to Kappelseslitt. It's going to be sitting close to the fjord on mountainous ground and have overview of the fjord and the calving icebergs, and it's going to be quite interesting as well. This is also just a small shelter. It's not a cabin that you will spend your night in. You can, but it's basically a wind-sheltered space to just sit down and enjoy the immensity of the nature there. And lastly, we're over at Nordland, which is, well, this direction, crossing the Nuuk fjord, and there's a vast area of just, well, flat tundra area, and we just loads of nice kayaking places, and there's a lot of people who basically told us they would love to go kayaking there, much more than they do, but there is a lack of facilities. There are no particular place to seek shelter, or there are no place to store your kayak. It's flat and it's close to the beach, or the silty sand beaches that you will find on this side. It's very easy to pull your kayak up, and then you can even store it in this facility, which again, similar to some of the other cabins, it has an open section and a closed section, so you can go in, light the fireplace, and enjoy the warmth of, well, what is a cabin experience. And in this particular project, we also built in a series of kayak racks, so you can store, I don't know, maybe 12, 14, 16 kayaks. And this is one of the slightly larger building. It's going to be about 4.5 by 10 meters. That's it for now. Now we're in the process of developing the technical designs, figuring out how we're going to build and assemble each of these projects, making it possible to build a helicopter onto their respective sites. That part of the work will be quite exciting. We're going to have to figure out the exact weight on every single building, every single module, and this is the work that we're now starting in collaboration with Innuplan. And we're hoping that during the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years, we'll have a series of 12 nature shelters and cabins built in and around Nuuk. And we have to, of course, give a big thanks to Lokale Anleggsfonden and Nordea-fonden and the Nuuk community itself. So they are now fully funded this project, and hopefully the people in Nuuk and all its visitors are going to find better facilities to enjoy their outdoor life in and around Nuuk. So, thank you very much, Kayanak, and to be continued.